Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, I'm Allie, and this is Find Your Joy. And I'm really excited and a little bit nervous today because I have the fabulous Nancy Guitar. Nancy is the creator and the host of Small Talk. Now, Small Talk, if you don't know, it first started to be a cable show, then a YouTube show, and I guess now we're calling it a podcast. Hi, Nancy, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Now, did I do the chronological order of how your show started close to right?
Yeah, close to it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. Well, now you've been doing, I guess I'll just start with Small Talk. You've been doing Small Talk for how many years now?
I can't remember small because it started out as Getting to Know You.
Right.
That's when I was with Shaw TV, their community access program, and that got closed down. And then I decided, well, if I'm going to start over, I'm going to have a new name. So it might have been about 3 or 4 years ago that it changed.
And what inspired you? What even inspired you to start doing something like this?
It was interesting because I wanted to volunteer at Shaw, and my whole intention was to have a talk show just because I think people's lives are so fascinating, and I just want to know about them and talk to them and see what they'd be willing to share.
Oh, I love that you say that. And for you, I see that your guests, it is so eclectic. Like you have artists of all, whether it's musicians or painters or writers or whatever, but you have politicians, you have activists, you have people who just have such a wide variety of interests. How do you find the people that are on your show?
Most of them are through Facebook, but I do get recommendations. A lot of the musicians, especially, are recommendations from maybe a record company that I interviewed or something,
Right.
I love it. Yeah, I really do love it when somebody approaches me and asks me if they can be on the show rather than me always approaching them. But it's mainly through Facebook, I would say.
Right. So when I was reading a little bit about you, and I was really excited to find out. So you started this. Now, I can out you a little bit. Now, your age is?
I'm 74 currently. I'm going to be 75 in a few weeks.
Holy smokes, 75 is the new 55, I guess. So that's or is that backwards? Did I say it? I don't remember how that goes exactly, but so when you're talking about this, so you started this in your 70s. You are limitless in terms of there's nothing, you're not sitting around saying, well, I'm probably not going to start a new career because I'm in my 70s. You're reinventing yourself every day.
Well, I'm a late bloomer. To be honest, I really am a late bloomer. I started doing some stand-up comedy in my 50s, improv in my 60s, and the show, I just didn't have the confidence when I was younger to do anything like this.
Right. So I love this. Let's go down that little trail for a while. So when we see a lot of people and they start to feel like I did this an episode some while back because I had this ongoing dream. I may have even said this to you before. I can't really remember, but I had this ongoing dream about having a baby, and the baby's name was Joshua. And then basically how it turned out was my dream, I believe, was all about looking at people that might feel like they've missed their chance, or they're late bloomers, or they're in their twilight years, whatever it is, and they start to do this thing that they were maybe created for, born to do. And I love what you're saying. You didn't have the confidence before. Well, I'm not saying I love that you didn't have the confidence, but so at what point did you start to think, I'm just going to do this thing? I don't care how old I am. I'm just going to go and be a stand-up comedian in my 50s.
Well, it kind of happened because one of my nieces I'd entered a speech contest. It was a humorous speech contest, and for an organization that teaches people public speaking. But anyway, She was fantastic. But she didn't win the contest because it wasn't really in a speech form. It was like stand-up comedy. So I just happened to say to her, because I felt she should be on stage, but she was shy. So I said, if you do it, I'll do it. And I said, if I find us a venue, would you do it? And she agreed. So we became the small, Wise Ass Comedy Runts, spelled with a Z.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And so now did you write your own material? How did you, because it's really funny. I know for myself, I've looked at stand-up comedy, and you have people say to you all the time, oh, you're so funny, or you're so this, and then someone will say to me, like, do something funny or say something funny, or they thought my book would be funny, or all these things. And I'm like, as soon as someone asks me to be funny, I'm like a deer in the headlights. Was it just in you? You just knew, you started, how did you write your stuff?
Well, a lot of it is like about myself. Like I grew up in a family, like we were come from an abusive home. But one of the things that we've always done is have fun together, and we all have this wacky sense of humor, So
right.
I think it was just there. But you write your own material, and you write the best comedy, I believe, is when you write about what you know. Okay.
Right.
So, but also, like my niece and I, we did different stage time, but we dropped bombs on each other. I would just say something about her, and I walk off on stage, and she has to come on and deal with that, right? So we just played like that for a lot of it.
I love it. And so was that sort of improvisational? Like when you did that, that wasn't rehearsed. You did your bit, and then palm, you just dropped a bomb for her.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's kind of wonderful, because now she has something to open with, and it's fresh.
Yeah. And we had this fun part. We were hired at a local hotel to do host a comedy night once a week. But the manager said, okay, no bad words, nothing like that. No.
Okay.
Normally, neither one of us talk like that, at least not in public. But she happened to write this song, and in the song, she drops the F-bomb. And just as she did that, the manager walked in. So we got fired. So we put that on our resume. It was just so hilarious. So
comedy that was fired for using the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the comedy nowadays. It's all about the F-bomb.
Yeah, well, and that it's funny you say that, because I think sometimes I don't really care what language someone uses. However, the F-bomb in itself is not a joke. So when people use it over and over and over and over again, it just waters down what they're saying for me, even though I can freely use I don't use it when I write.
Right.
And I don't use it on air. But if you're sitting across the table from me, you're going to hear an F-bomb or two, likely. But it's funny when I'm listening to someone do comedy, sometimes it's funny. It's like a little exclamation point at the end of something. And sometimes it kind of diminishes what they're saying. So how long did you do stand-up for?
I can't remember. Like somebody wanted to. I have a really bad memory for it.
No, it's okay. I have brain injury. I mean, I don't remember what we started talking about. I might start repeating everything. So it's all good with me.
Well, we did it for a few years. We had a lot of sellout shows. And then somebody wanted to manage us and send us on different areas across country. But what happened was my niece had young children at the time, and she felt that she couldn't do that, And so that's just sort of fizzled out like that. And then before you know it, somebody invited me to join an improv team. And that was fun.
Oh, I can just imagine. So that's sort of like Whose Line Is It? Or one of those things like Drew Carey and things like that. Right.
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun, because I would imagine that I know how my mind works. And so something that I don't have to remember, and it's just going to be off the top of my head. I actually prefer life that way. Anything if someone wants me to know ahead of time, I'm like, oh, now we're going to have a problem. So that was fun. And then, so how long did you do that for?
Well, quite a number of years, and that ended with COVID.
Right.
Unfortunately, but I was starting to lose my edge anyway. And like for me, I have to be able to perform well. Doesn't matter what it is, I can't, if I'm struggling, if I'm on stage and I'm struggling, and then somebody else has to carry me, that's not going to work. So for me, it ended at a good time. Right. It was perfect.
Right. So you start out, you've come from this place. You had been really ill as a child. right? I remember I was reading your bio, and that you'd struggle with health things throughout. And so that created, I'm guessing, a certain way that you learn to interact or not, and see the world or not, because when we're kids and we have health conditions, or I share a bit, we share a lot of common history. We've talked about that. We share a lot of common history, and that kind of that's the perfect formula for someone as fabulous as you. Because I look and I see things that you're doing now. So I'm just blown away. You've got over 500 shows that you've done already. And that's just with this. I mean, that's not talking about all the other things you've done. And I thought, oh, that's just fabulous. And then I see these paintings that you're doing, and the movement and the color and it's just, I love them. And then I'm looking, and you've been doing stand up and improv, and I'm like, there's just seems to be no end to the things that pour out of you creatively.
It's kind of interesting, because I was just going to post something this morning on Facebook. Like, I'm a person who never felt they belonged, always felt like I was an outsider looking in. And that comes a lot from being ill as a child. I spent a lot of time alone while my brothers and sisters were, playing and having fun together, right?
Right.
And then at some point I realized, like, maybe there's more to me than I think there is, maybe I can do things that I didn't think I could do. So I just start trying things. And the worst thing when I hear people say, oh, I'm too old to do something, it's like, that makes me nuts. It really,
right.
Say you're too afraid, say you can't afford it or something like that, but never say you're too old, because why would you be too old? I started painting 2 years ago. Some of it works out, some of it doesn't, and so what, right? Like, so what if it doesn't work? What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
This is my view of life in general. What's the worst that could happen? You fail. And that's a learning lesson, right?
Right.
It's
amazing.
I forget where I was going with this conversation.
No, it's perfect. You went exactly to the right spot, because I love that. And what it's making me think of is I'll be 64 this year. You'll be 75? Mm-hmm. 75. Okay. So as two women that are seasoned, as it were, I'm thinking, how do we tell younger women? I don't mean tell them. How do we share our hope, our strength, our experience with someone? Because I would love to see somebody catch this at 20.
Yeah.
And not at 40 and 50 and 60. I mean, it's great. And I don't care if they're 90 and they catch it. Just please catch it. If you're 90, if you're 20, what do we want to say? What do we want to tell them?
The problem I think with when we're younger is we want to impress. We don't know how to be ourselves. We dress maybe for a man or another woman or something like that, because you look out there and you read the ads, see the ads, and we all have to look a certain way. And I grew up thinking those things about myself too. It wasn't. I took some acting classes, and a teacher said to me, "Nancy, you're quirky, and that's a good thing." And that's what woke me up. Like, it made me realize that it's okay to be different. It's okay to just do those things that you want to do. Be your own person. Don't be what somebody else expects you to be. And that's the biggest thing for females, especially,
Yes.
Yes. The world we live in, like, if you're older, well, you no longer can be a host of on a news. You can't be a news anchor if you're female.
Right.
They let males do that. So we have to stop that. We have to go try anyway. Keep trying, and eventually they're going to realize, like, wait a minute, these females are just as good as this older male, this older female. Right. We have the ability to do whatever we want. We stop ourselves. That's what I believe. We stop ourselves. So if you're a young person out there, be you. Don't be what somebody else expects you to be.
Yes. Yes, and find out what being you means, because I think I love when you're saying that, because I think, now I can only speak for myself, and I'm going to say for all the slagging of the generations that come after us that goes on. I see it the opposite, and maybe it's because, like you have a niece and I have kids. My kids are adults now. In fact, my granddaughter's an adult now. I have grandkids, but I think that that's one thing that really connects me to the younger generations. I think they're amazing, and I see young women are, I get it, they're standing on our shoulders and that's wonderful, but they still have to choose to do that on their own. And I see the generations behind us coming up, a lot of them stronger and really focused, way more than I was at their age. Like, I don't, I was a teenager in the 70s. I promise you, I wasn't considering my life path at that time, right? And in the generation that I come from, it sounds so funny to say that, but it really was a lot more about, I think as a young woman, I thought it was quite important to be pretty, to be liked, to have a man, to maybe be a mother, maybe be able to cook, like these things. Even though I had other dreams and goals, it was still being sold to us that this was the way to be a woman.
Yeah.
This was still the shtick that was, this was still the rhetoric that was going on. I don't really know how much it is now, because I still see young people that appear to be a little bit concerned about what anyone else thinks. So I don't think they're completely free of it, but I think that they might, I don't know, what do you think? I think that the generations behind us seem to be getting it a little bit quicker than we did.
Of course, because it's talked about.
Yes.
When I grew up, nobody ever talked about what women should or shouldn't do. You just know your place. Basically, that was it, but that's not the world because it's so open now. With the internet, with all kinds of, like Facebook and all these, we can see things differently.
Yes.
People view things differently, right?
Yes, so exactly.
That's a wonderful thing. I mean, again, there's still going to be all of those that want to look like a certain way, whatever, like that, like, when I was thinking about Princess Diana, people copied her hair because she had this, and I'm thinking, why? Like for me, it's like, why aren't you just being you?
Right.
But for some people, it's hard to get there. But again, because people are talking about it, it's easy to get there now.
It is. Or to even be aware that there's a there to get to.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't even know. It didn't even really occur to me. I mean, I was more concerned with fitting in. That was what was important. And so I love that. I love that so much. So now when what's next? What's next for Nancy Guitar? I mean, first of all, you got the best name ever.
It's funny because a lot of people think it's a stage name, and it's actually my name.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So what's next for you? I mean, I mean, it just seems you're so limitless to me. You're just limitless.
Well, right now I'm just, I'm in the process. Well, I have a lot of interviews coming up, and which I will continue as long as I can speak properly without stumbling over my words. But I'm in the process of organizing myself a great big birthday party for my 75th birthday. You're invited, of course. It's on.
Oh my gosh.
May 13th here in Chilliwack at the Ashlitz Hall. So I'm organizing that. And the whole idea was like, I don't want presents because what do I need? I don't want stuff, please.
Yes.
Stuff. It's just because of COVID and all the bad, a lot of bad stuff that come out of there. I want people to just come and have fun. We're going to have live musicians, and it's a potluck, and it's just get up there and dance if you can dance, or, just share some laughs and some fun with people. Just because
we can.
After that, I don't know. More painting, probably. I haven't thought about anything else that I do think about things, and I think, nah, do I want to do that? Does it take how much work? How much energy is it going to take? Like, nah, maybe not. And I live in a condo, and I'm also on the social committee here, so I'm busy,
of course,
and I'm also on council. Hate that. I just did it because they need people.
Right.
So I have a very full life, and so it's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff to do. And it's like, okay, I don't need to take on any more at this point. But you never,
Yes.
might be something new tomorrow. Who knows?
Exactly. So if people want to contact you to see if they're a fit for your show, what are some of the ways that they can do that? How are they going to get in touch with you?
The easiest way is on Facebook, just under my personal name, Nancy Guitar. My show is also on there under Small Talk with Nancy Guitar as well. And as for fit, I had somebody on who swore, dropped a lot of bad language, and I laughed so much. It was so much fun. I don't edit. I don't know how to edit. I hate editing. So
Right.
you just get what you see. But Facebook is probably the easiest way.
Okay. So is there anybody that you're kind of hoping to interview, or any style of or any type of person that you're looking for? Like, how do people know if they're going to be a fit for you? Who are you? What kind of people are you interested in?
Anybody who's willing to talk in front of a camera, anybody who has something to share, or they want to talk about their business or their creativity. Like what I do when I look for people on Facebook, I look at first thing I do is look at their profile. Some people say self-employed and that's it. And it's like, well, what the heck does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Right.
Into it, you can't find anything. So if you put like, for instance, author or a podcaster or, whatever it is, put what you do. And then I think, oh, maybe they'd like to be on this show. I don't care what you do. I'm just happy to have you on.
Oh,
Right?
that's wonderful. Right.
Because the more the variety, the better. Never had a doctor on yet. That's one of my dreams, is to have a doctor.
Okay. Well, hey, if I've got some doctor friends out there, and I know I do, Nancy would love to interview you, and just, well, that's great. I won't call them out by name, but
Well, tell them if they're interested, please contact me. I mean, more than happy. I mean, I'm booked pretty well till the end of May. Because I only hear the show 3 days a week. So,
Right.
I used to do it 5 days a week, but it was too much. But anyway, yeah, I'm always happy to book new people on anytime.
Wow, you're doing 3 shows a week?
Yes.
My gosh, I have so much to learn from you. It's just this is wonderful. Well, Nancy, I would love to have you on as a guest again another day, because I know that we're just scratching the surface. I know that we are. You're just a delight. You hate to use that word because it's just the truth. It's just the most honest descriptive word I can think about you. You're just a delightful human being. You're just, you're wonderful. You're inspiring. You've been doing so much for so long, and there just seems to be more popping up out of you all the time. So I guess the message here today is it's never too late. Be yourself, and don't ever tell Nancy Guitar that you're too old to do anything.
More importantly, have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yes. Because life is much shorter than we would like it to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, this has been,
Well,
thank you.
but pardon me?
This has been fun for me too. So thank you. I do appreciate you inviting me on.
Oh, I'm so happy that you came, and like I said, I'll be for sure asking you back. Well, you can get a hold of Nancy, Small Talk with Nancy Guitar, Nancy Guitar on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I will definitely have all her links will be in the show notes. Thank you again, Nancy, for being here. It's been really fun, and I'm Allie, and this is Find Your Joy. Now go out and find some joy and have fun, because Nancy said so. Yep. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you, so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.